What's up, Alcien Wrestling fans? Navarro here, and I want to welcome you guys to this month's episode of the Alcien Wrestling Podcast. Now, in this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about the rise and fall of Legacy. And for some of you who don't know, Legacy is a faction that um, was started back in 2019, but kind of ended in 2010. So follow me and let's get started. Now, for some of you who may not have watched wrestling back in 2009 or back when this team was a part of the WWE or was, actually perform, these three superstars were actually performing as a trio. Legacy is a trio known to have Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase um, in it. So this trio, they may now be, in way different areas of their lives, but it's hard to believe now, to me, anyways, as well. It's hard to believe that they were actually a tag team and a very good tag team slash trio at that. And man, like thinking back 2020, back in 2009, there's never been a tag team like this. There's never been a tag team, in my opinion, that has had this impact on the WWE, and it's something that we needed, and that's something that I was very happy to watch. Back then, not really, because as a kid, I you were kind of rooting for the good guys, and these guys were not the good guys at all. So let's continue on with this podcast. Now, to really kind of cover this whole podcast episode on Legacy, we have to kind of date back all the way to 2009 to the night that this trio formed. This was actually during a Monday Night Raw episode. Earlier in the night before Randy's match against Kane, Ted went up to Cody. He also had Manu and Snuka beside him backstage. He kind of told, before this, before Legacy was even created, there was a time where Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase were just a tag team with not even Randy Orton. So I don't really remember that much of how, like, what the timeline was between, you know, Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes as a tag team, and then adding Randy Orton. But um, during this episode of Raw, Ted and Manu and Snuka kind of walk up to Cody backstage, and they tell him, "Hey, I guess Ted DiBiase wasn't too fond of Randy at the time, or pretending like he wasn't fond of Randy." But he told Cody backstage before Randy's match that Cody kind of needed to pick a side, and if not, he was that Ted, Manu, Snuka were gonna pick the side for him, opting, kind of opting Cody like to kind of be in a corner and feeling pressured to, I guess, be in Ted's side. But I was really surprised also with the way this turned out. So let's continue. And fast forwarding to the match with that actually took place that night with Randy and Kane, with Cody by Randy's side. After the match, right after Randy's victory, Ted DiBiase came out with Manu and Snuka, and he kind of confronted Cody and Randy at the same time, and he told Cody, he was like, "Well, I guess you've chosen your side, so there's nothing else we can do. So we're gonna go down to the ring and beat your ass." And they went down to the ring, all three of those men, and kind of circled the ring. At first, it was looking like Randy was gonna be on his own, um, because Cody was looking like he was gonna join Manu Snuka and Ted um, when they circled Randy Orton, and they had him kind of cornered in the ring. It wasn't until they got into the ring and we actually saw Ted and Cody actually attack Manu and Snuka, and helping Randy Orton kind of escape out of there, you know, without a scratch. So this is where this tag team, or this trio kind of came to be. And I was really surprised. I thought they were going to jump Randy, because it was looking like they were all going for, Randy's head. I don't really remember what happened for them to kind of make a pact, between Ted, Manu, and Snuka, that they were going to possibly attack Randy. But I'm kind of glad that it didn't happen because we probably wouldn't have ever gotten Legacy. So yeah, that's that. That's the first night. Now, Legacy also continued throughout the year of 2009. Legacy continued their kind of reign of terror, as a heel tag team, as a heel trio, all the way to the Royal Rumble when both Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes helped Randy win the Royal Rumble match, thus guaranteeing his spot at the WrestleMania 25 main event. Now, as we all know, that match didn't go out as planned as Legacy had hoped. Randy Orton ended up coming short to Triple H, at the main event of WrestleMania, but that match was actually a very good match. I really enjoyed it, mainly because at the time, when you're a little kid, you don't really like the bad guy, and I was very happy that Randy Orton didn't win. Um, but thus far, I really enjoyed that match, and it looked like Randy Orton was like kind of gonna be out of the title picture, but I was definitely hit with a surprise with how the rest of the year turned out for them. Now, in the whole year of 2009, Legacy was involved in very great matches. My definite top four matches are the matches that they had at Backlash, Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell, and Survivor Series. At Backlash, that was after WrestleMania 25. We saw Legacy take on Triple H, Batista, the returning Batista, and Shane McMahon in a six-man tag team match with the winner, um, obviously taking the WWE Championship. Uh, that's where we saw Randy Orton's beginning of that's where we saw the beginning of Randy's title reign. Um, we also saw, in my opinion, how very dangerous this team was going to be. Whether they were out there performing as a trio or helping, just one member, actually getting to what he wanted. And we also saw that Legacy had, basically stopped at nothing until they got their hands on the WWE title or whatever they wanted. Fast forward to Extreme Rules, I enjoyed that match very much as well. Um, the match that Randy Orton had against Batista for the WWE Championship, was a very good match. Both matches with Cody and Ted DiBiase facing off against DX, at SummerSlam and at Hell in a Cell. But the one at Hell in a Cell stood out to me more, not only because it was inside of Hell in a Cell, but they actually took it further than the match at SummerSlam, in my opinion. And out of those two matches, the match at Hell in a Cell was a very good match, and it's one of the matches that, whether you talk about Hell in a Cell now or back then, or whenever, this match between these two tag teams is a match that's going to be talked about even till all three of these members, you know, pass on, you know, or they all three get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But I believe that this match was a very good match as well. The Survivor Series match with Team Kofi versus Team Randy. That was during the Kofi versus Randy rivalry back in 2009. It's also a match that I really enjoyed as well. Um, as we all know, Team Randy did not win, but they definitely showed that they definitely showed their talents, and I really enjoyed every match that they had in 2009. But for some reason, these four matches just stood out to me the most, and it really solidified them as a trio tag team um, during 2009, at the beginning of 2009, during 2009, and at the end of 2009. And 2010 was actually looking like a pretty good year. I actually believe that they were going to last for at least another year. But as we all know, all good things must come to an end. Now, as we all know, Randy Orton back in 2009 lost his WWE Championship, which was, I believe, to John Cena. And after that, John Cena actually lost it to Sheamus in a TLC match, which at the beginning, I wasn't expecting this match at the Royal Rumble. But I'm kind of glad it happened because we actually saw Randy's kind of face turn and, the cracks starting to form within the group of Legacy. And if you guys don't remember this match, this was the match when Randy Orton challenged Sheamus for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble in 2010. And in this match, Randy, I think it was when Randy told both Ted and Cody to stay behind, not to interfere in this match because he knew he had it. He had his hands. He already had tasted the WWE Championship in his hands, and he was very confident that he was going to walk out of that pay per view as champion. Now, during the whole match, Randy Orton did, he dominated the whole match. And it was looking like he was going to win the WWE Championship. I was very confident that he was going to win the match. And I thought he was going to regain his title, but as we all know, that did not happen thanks to the interference of Ted. Um, it may not have been intentional that Randy did not that like sorry guys, tongue twisted, that Ted interfered. I'm pretty sure this outcome was not meant to happen during, like, as it played out, but it couldn't have started the cracks within Legacy any better. Um, so yeah, that was it for when the cracks first started forming. After the events of what took place at the Royal Rumble, we kind of saw Legacy kind of just letting the whole events of the Royal Rumble behind them, and they were trying to look forward, and refocusing their gains on helping Randy Orton win back his WWE Championship in time for him to defend it at WrestleMania. But as we all know, that did not happen again. Um, and these events happened at the Elimination Chamber pay per view. Uh, in my opinion, I also thought that Randy was going to win. I was like, he's got Ted in there. He's got it in the bag, basically. But then again, that did not happen. He was eventually eliminated from the match by Ted DiBiase. That is another aspect that I did not expect. I definitely expected Randy to win, or if he was gonna lose, it was gonna be made to look kind of accidental. But The also the way it played out. I actually love the way it played out because this was like the definite end of Legacy um, opting the match at WrestleMania. Uh, so yeah, it was very unexpected the way this match ended, and I couldn't have been any happier for Randy and for the Ted and Cody because I was like, I in my gut feeling I had this feeling that something was gonna happen between these three at WrestleMania, and that's what I was kind of hoping for because we had seen them work as a tag team throughout the whole year of 2009 and the beginning of 2010. And in my opinion, I was ready to see them in a match against either one against the other or all three in a triple threat match. And that's kind of what we got at WrestleMania. Well, not kind of, definitely. That's definitely what we got at WrestleMania. And I couldn't be happier. Now, during the triple threat match at WrestleMania that took place between Cody, Randy, and Ted, at the beginning we definitely saw like a 2-on-1 scenario, and that was kind of what everybody expected because leading up to this match, we kind of saw Cody and Ted, sticking by each other, and that was kind of the vibes that they were gonna give off. They didn't know who was gonna win, but they were gonna stop at nothing to make sure that Randy did not win. And I believe that if they would have stuck to that, it would have happened. But during the whole match, it took it was basically a 2-on-1 match. It was a 2-on-1 assault, and I was not expecting Randy to win this match. It was definitely I thought it was either gonna lead like to a storyline between Ted and Cody, but both of them kind of throughout the match, both of them kind of lost sight on making sure Randy didn't win, and they both focused on more on who was going to win between them two, and that's what kind of led to their downfall because they both lost sight of the big picture, which was Randy Orton not winning, and in every match that Randy wins, it happens. The superstar loses sight of actually winning and focus loses their focus on keeping Randy down. And whenever you take off your eyes against at off of Randy Orton, it's gonna cost you, and that's what it did. Randy Orton took the win, and I was surprised, very surprised. Um, Throughout the match, it wasn't looking like Randy was gonna win, but I'm kind of happy he won. I'm very happy to that he won, and I was very happy to see what happened to all three members following this match at WrestleMania. Now, after the whole rise and fall of Legacy, um, we saw Randy Orton um, kind of his career kind of skyrocket uh, to places that I personally never thought he would go. I definitely knew he had a bright future. I just didn't think, he was gonna make this great of an impact in WWE. He went on to be a multi-time WWE champion and world heavyweight champion. He won the Money in the Bank ladder match. He's been not a universal champion yet. um, he's been a United States champion and a tag team champion. And in my opinion, inside of the WWE, he is the superstar out of all three of these members that has benefited the most of this faction and this storyline and this trio that took place back in 2009 and 2010. He is the person inside of the WWE currently that was out of all three members, that his career skyrocketed the most. Not trying to take away anything from Cody or Ted. in my opinion, inside of the WWE, he has gained the most out of this trio. Uh, Following, also the breakup of Legacy, Cody Rhodes kind of went into a league of his own. We definitely saw him branch out as his own um, type of superstar in the WWE. We saw him go through many phases in the WWE as, when he won the Intercontinental Championship, um, when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, when he was not so dashing Cody Rhodes, when he was back to regular Cody Rhodes, and when he was Stardust. Um, we also saw him be a, I believe, three-time tag team champion after the whole thing with Legacy. I believe he held the tag team titles, on three different occasions. Two times with Goldust and once with Drew McIntyre. I could be wrong, but we definitely saw that Cody Rhodes definitely benefited very much from this trio as well. Um, Out of all the gimmicks that Cody Rhodes has had, in my opinion, even though there's a lot of people that don't like the Stardust gimmick that he had, to me it was a very fun gimmick. Out of the whole gimmicks that he's had, his character, how his character has evolved in WWE. I believe that, you know, the Goldust character was something that we had never seen before out of Cody. It definitely he gave us good matches. I definitely enjoyed every gimmick, but the Goldust gimmick, in my opinion, stood out the most. And yeah, he had a very good run. Obviously, now, after he was released, he went on to be the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He put on very great matches out in the Indies, and now fast forwarding to 2019 and 2020, he now, um, I believe, is the owner of AEW, All Elite Wrestling. He's doing a very good job at that. That's a promotion that I thought, wasn't gonna do very good at first, and then I began, really liking it. Are there some aspects that I don't like? Yeah, like in WWE, every promotion is gonna have fans that don't really like very much things about that promotion, but all in all, Cody Rhodes is on a roll. I believe that AEW, as it continues throughout the years, it is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger with all these new superstars coming in. It's definitely very nice to see something um, as an alternative from WWE, and I'm very excited to see how it molds out for him and the rest of the AEW roster um, following 2020 and in the years to come. Now, moving on to Ted DiBiase's run after the whole legacy run in WWE, there wasn't very much that we saw from Ted DiBiase. I don't know if it was the way he was being booked or his early retirement, but he he did have a good WWE career. I'm not going to take that away from him. After the whole legacy storyline, I kind of wanted to see more from him. Um, Not to say that after the whole legacy storyline, I'm not trying to say that he kind of went like flatline or he kind of disappeared. It was just I expected, more from him, and I believe that if he would have stuck around more in WWE, we probably could have seen him um, eventually be either an Intercontinental Champion or a United States Champion or even a WWE Champion. But as we all know, the only title he ended up holding was the $1 million championship. Um, I'm not mad at that. I definitely enjoyed how his career played out after the whole legacy storyline. Did I want to see more? Absolutely, because he was very talented and a very gifted superstar. Um, and it was up. I guess the whole retirement thing was up to him. He wanted to spend more time with his family. I totally understand that. And yeah, all three of these superstars had their moments to shine, whether it was before, during, or after Legacy. They, I believe that WWE did really good with the whole Legacy storyline and how it turned out and how it essentially broke apart. And that's that made me very happy at the time uh, to see that in certain times. WWE also focused on them during them as a trio, and I was really happy to see that. I definitely didn't want to see oh, okay, let's help Cody and Ted fall into this um, kind of whole gimmick of okay, we're Randy's sidekicks. Did they seem that most of the time? Yeah, but they also had their times to shine during the time when they were a trio, and I'm very happy that WWE focused on all three of them, not just on one person. Now that does it for the Rise and Fall of Legacy podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to what I had to say, listening to my views, and on this whole trio. Um, it after this trio, how it played out, it definitely gave me hope to see um, how WWE was gonna play out the storylines of future tag teams and their downfalls. Um, this trio was a now was it a hit and miss? I I believe it was a definite hit. Like I said, it benefited all three of these members very much from their times as a trio. Uh, and yeah, it made me really happy seeing WWE taking this trio and actually doing good with this whole storyline. Now, I want to thank you guys for watching this, tuning in to this podcast episode. I will definitely be having more um, podcast episodes and topics talk of me talking about them. In March, I have another podcast episode that I will be recording very soon with a co-host. Um, that's something very that I'm looking forward to seeing. Definitely leave your definitely like and subscribe to my channel. Leave your comments how you guys felt on how I covered the whole storyline that was the trio of Legacy. Leave me your feedback. I definitely want to hear back from you guys. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that very much. Don't forget to go follow us on Instagram. Um, Take a chance to look at my edits, my videos that I upload. Um, and if you want, you can actually also find me at my personal Instagram, uh, DNS al cien. Um, Now on Instagram is the only account right now that I have Al Cien Wrestling on. If you guys find it anywhere else, it's not legit. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in March.